Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Wendy Yee.
Today we're taking a look at a game called Recall. Recall is a follow-up to a very popular game that came out a couple years ago called Revive.
Though from a different publisher.
But it looks so similar.
It's not, it's the same designers, basically.
Yeah, it's the same
It is,
group,
yeah.
yeah.
And it's, well, we'll talk about comparisons to Revive later, but it's very obviously in the same family of games. Recall, you're building a future by culture and stuff, getting victory points.
And tracks. Don't forget the tracks.
And this eyeball has nothing to do with anything, though it's very cool looking.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm remembering when I played this game. All right, let's show a little bit about how the game works, and we'll be back. This is going to be a high-level overview. There is a lot of rules to the game, so I'm just going to kind of give you enough so that you understand. But I want to talk about the player board here first. And there's a couple things here that are important. And the first is we have some crystals over here, white, red, and purple. And a lot of things over the course of the game will have this symbol on them, which lets you upgrade a crystal to the next level. And you can always decrease them. You can always break a crystal apart. If I want to take a purple and turn it into one red and one white, I can do that. But that's a lot of the currency of the game. Now, what players are doing over the course of this game, on your turn, you're going to be using a key. And what you're going to do is you're going to kind of plug that key into an action and take that action. Once a key is plugged into action, you can't take that action again until you recall your keys. So at the beginning of the game, you start with 2 keys, and you will take the actions on these keys. And when you take a recall action, you'll pull your keys back, and you then can take these red actions. So I might say, I would like to take 1 white crystal and 1 upgrading a crystal. And those are the 2 actions I take because I pulled back 2 keys. If I have 5 keys or 6 keys, I'll get to take 6 actions. But you'll notice that there's only 3 of these here, but as you build buildings onto the board, you'll have more actions you can take when you do a recall action. Not only that, you'll be able to upgrade keys as the game goes by. Not only are they worth points at the end of the game, but you'll be able to, when you take that action, you'll get a bonus here, a bonus of a victory point and getting another one of my little dudes on the board. Or this one here, I get 2 dudes on the board, but I also get to upgrade a crystal. And that's still not all. As you score points during the game, some points are scored during the game, some are scored at the end, but during the game when you score, you'll hit one of these and you'll take this. This is action C, and then I go to my board over here and I can utilize either side of this, but I'm essentially making that action better. And you can upgrade all 6 of those actions if you get up to 30 points to get all 6 of those upgrades. Now, the actions that players are doing are letting them gain culture and explore the map. And so you're going to be doing that over here. You'll start with some dudes on the board. Many actions give you movement, and you'll be able to move around on the board. Or maybe you have water movement, which lets you move through water and then come out the other side. Many times you'll have to spend your people to get things off the board, like these relic cubes you might pull off the board. Or there's a lot of actions that will be, I'll be digging up these pieces here. And those are going to let you move up on these corresponding tracks. Now, moving up on these tracks is going to give you victory points at the end of the game, but it's also going to give bonuses where you can take new technologies here. And as you go through these piles and take these technologies, everyone's going to start with a technology, but you'll be able to add more technologies. Not only that, as you collect these different pieces here, not only do they let you move up on the tracks, but you're going to add them over here to where you keep these, because you can use these to activate your technologies and or the special ability on the different kind of grouping that you started with. So if I'm a Hela, for example, I can go here for better movement options. And you can spend these and they will come back when you recall. Players will also, once you're next to a spot on the board, you'll be able to explore and find new spots on the board, some of which will have a cube. There's a bag that is full of cubes that you'll pull and put out here. If they have one of these shovel pieces on, that same bag, you'll find these little discs and put 3 of them on that spot. And if you're on the right spot and have the right resources, you can build buildings onto these spots. Some of the buildings that you build are going to give you bonuses, which you can see on your player board here. The first boards here, the vaults, are just going to give you various bonuses that shows next to them. The second set of buildings gives you better keys. And the third set of buildings, the monuments, well, they're the most expensive, but you're going to be placing those monuments out on different spots on the board that are going to score lots of points at the end of the game. And you know where monuments are because they're on the backs of these tiles. There's also, you can land on one of these spots and move a monument to that. Now, there's more keys here in the top of the board. And I already showed you some of the upgraded keys, but the better keys you have and the more keys that you get from taking various actions, the more things you'll do. At a certain point, when someone reaches here, we'll reveal these lost tribes here. And once you get to a certain spot on these, you will remove your token here on the board so that you may activate the special ability of that one. That's one of the starting, this could be a starting player, the Finders or the Einers or the Coltron. Like these guys can move on volcanoes and no one up to that point can. But when you move far enough up their track, not only are you going to get points, but you are now going to be able to use that special ability. Each round of the game, players are going to move this after the first player, so everyone's going to have the same amount of actions. And when you reach that 1, 2, and 3 spot, players are going to have to make some decisions. Next to the board, there are 6 cards, and these 6 cards are scoring cards. You're going to score these at the end of the game. But each player is going to have to decide when they get to this spot, like you're going to say, am I going to go on the path of ambition or the path of power? Now, you're going to get a bonus based on which one you pick, so that might sway what you do. At the end of the game, though, for example, this one says you're going to score all your relic cubes. But if you pick the path of ambition, you're also going to get 6 points for every set of all 4 of the colors that you have. The path of knowledge here, moving up the different tracks will score you the points. But also, you're going to move up the one that you're the highest on, but also your second place will score if you've gone and picked that path of knowledge. So that's a main way of scoring the points. Players will also have 2 objective cards. If they can meet these objectives on them, they're going to score points. You have the 2 different things that you'll need to do. Players also can score all sorts of points here. As you collect relic cubes, they're going to fill up this area here, which will give you bonus and more points. And there's just lots of other ways to get points over the course of the game. But mostly it's going to come from these cards at the end and the decisions that you make. Now, there's a lot more things I haven't gone over. I haven't gone over all the different actions in detail. But essentially, you're moving around the board, exploring, mining, building new buildings. And after a certain amount of turns, the game will end. And the person with the most points is the winner.
I want to start out by saying I like the game. I say that because I want to mention a few small problems I have with the production. Because I think a lot of the production's awesome. I love the dual layer boards. I love sliding the keys in and upgrading it. I think that's cool. I don't particularly care for having 2 different things in the same bag. I understand that they're trying to save time and effort there. I just did not like that particularly.
I was annoyed at first and then thought I would be more annoyed having to grab 2 different bags. But
yeah, I was fine with it.
I was fine. Yeah, I became fine with it.
And I also found, while there is a almost overwhelming amount of info that is flying up at you from the boards. I don't think you get used to it. I mean, I play a lot of these games, so it wasn't too bad. But good grief, there's a lot going on.
You mean more than just busyness on the board? Because the board itself is very
That's what I mean.
busy.
I mean, your player board is busy with the things you can do. There's 3 different buildings, which I'll never remember what the names of them are. They're just, I know the spots they're in.
There were definitely rules that were like, oh, it is on our player board, that particular rule, that particular free action, but we didn't notice till the end of the game because we had to know what it was to be able to find it on the board.
Sure.
Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff is a little bland, like the cubes and the tracks and things. There's not a lot of, once you play this, it is a big spreadsheet, and I'm not saying that necessarily negatively. I think there's a lot of cool things to the game, but I think that it doesn't particularly look amazing. It's fine, and the components are well done, but they're not necessarily pretty, if that makes sense. There's not a lot of theme there. you have one small card that's your faction.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of cubes and discs.
And I'm fine with that because I think that they spent most of the budget on the eyeball on the cover.
Got to go big for the advertising poster.
No, I think the production is perfectly fine, right? And does it feel like maybe it's just like a touch, a scooch less deluxe-y than a lot of modern games?
I guess I'm not complaining
Just a
as much
smooch.
about the deluxeness of it because I think parts of it are
Is it
that
the
cool.
color palette?
The color palette's fine. I just think the theme gets lost in everything.
Okay, I do agree that the theme is like sometimes there and sometimes not there, but I feel like it feels more thematic than a lot of old school Euro games that
I
really
guess I'm
are
comparing
just
it a lot to
cubes.
Revive. Revive had all that cool artwork, and I think that helped on the cards. You don't have that in here. At most, you have a bunch of artifacts which look all the same. But gameplay itself, I am a huge fan of that key. Put the keys in and pull
and
them out.
upgrade them.
Yeah.
Yeah, great engine building.
There are going to be some similarities to games like even like Nucleum, right? With that little, and you can upgrade the slots, and of course comparisons to Revive, where you can upgrade the slots where the keys go into, and you can also upgrade the keys. And I love that like dual, like there's multifaceted ways to upgrade your actions that you can actually take. I really like getting more keys. I really like upgrading the keys that I have. I mean, I'll get more keys than I have slots for. I don't care because I can also guarantee that they're points at the end of the game and then possibly like that extra bonus for key points.
Well, and then it just creates this like twofold action where you're like, I have the actions and I have the keys, and you get to put them together. And so it makes it feel like you're getting bonus stuff because those keys feel like extra bonus.
I agree.
Yeah, there's more.
It's a weird game because you look at it, you're like, that's all the actions we have, 13 actions. But the actions compound on each other. My only dislike of that is I think the recall action in here, while it's nice, your first recall action is not, right? You're going to get a couple things, and that's the whole turn.
Yeah.
You might, it feels like the game you're struggling around trying to not recall if possible. As few times as possible.
Yeah.
And more modern games, we just played Galactic Cruise, and there's a lot of other games that make the act of recalling or pulling things back as fun, sometimes more fun than the actions. So maybe it's just, if I played this 20 years ago, I wouldn't have even thought about this.
I think it's would have blown people's minds, yeah, a few years back even.
Well, I think part of that too is like when you take your recall turn, it just doesn't take very long. It's not.
Yeah,
it's
you're
not
like-
just the exciting part, but it's also the like. I have to wait and watch Chris do fun stuff. Well, I did nothing.
Well, once you have 4 or 5 keys, you are like, oh, look at all the stuff I'm getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, get more keys quickly, not just to be able to take more actions, but because when you recall, you get more bonuses. But you also have to balance that with building the right buildings so that the bonuses you get are better income. I think it's well done, but yes, perhaps it's not as exciting as like Luke Laurie and Andromeda's Edge or those like recall actions.
You know what? You know what's interesting, and this isn't with the recall action, but the mechanism that I think kind of sticks out to me as being different, and I'm not fully sure how I feel about it, is the way that you upgrade your actions via gaining victory points in-game.
I like that a lot, actually. It encourages you to do things to get victory points. And I also like that they're dual-sided. If they weren't dual-sided, I would be less excited. But I like the fact that I'm like, what side did you guys pick? I would pick their side. No, your side's better.
I will say
It's
I
just-
love. Oh, I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
Well, I love that people who have shot ahead on victory points during the game, which is not like easy to do per se. You're sacrificing a lot of other benefits to get points instead, which feels good because you're getting upgrades. But then I've seen the people who are like 10 points, 10 maybe 12 points in the lead there, just get walloped in the end game because getting those upgrades is not everything. And I think that balances nicely.
And I think what I do appreciate about it is it just creates another strategy that you can try. Like I don't think it's necessary to do.
But it's fun.
I also think that it's really it's entertaining to me how all the different things come together over the course of the game. But I really like the exploring, which is fun, and going out and getting new stuff. But you have so many actions that you can take. But I like when you have to make that decision between the two scoring. I think it's a really cool choice.
That's one of my favorite parts. Is which of the two score? Because at first I was confused. Like, well, you're going to score all 6 of the cards. Why do you randomize them? Oh, because every pairing you get to choose one to get like that bonus juice scoring out of.
Do you pick over the bonus, or do you pick on which one you want to score on?
It depends.
At first, I'm like, I'll take the bonus. I don't care.
Well, it depends. If they're about equal, yeah, I'll take the better like immediate bonus. But if I know I'm crushing it on keys, well, I'll take the crappier bonus, but I'll get that like huge scoring at the end. So I think that the game gives you a lot of those little bonuses along the way, which is nice feeling.
Well, it gives you that chance to look ahead, but still be able to pivot mid-game. So because sometimes in games like this, you pick a strategy and maybe someone else goes really strong into that too. And you're like, I have to make a different choice. And so you can later on. And I feel that way about the tracks too. Like as you're moving up those tracks,
Oh, I love moving up tracks.
like tracks are fun. But they have those little bonuses that you can get, and the new cultures or whatever they are that you unlock and now have access to. And so that's one of those things that initially I was just like, I'm just picking a track. I'm moving up on whatever I can. But I realized like the more you play this, the more you really can look at those things ahead of time and really decide like, ooh, what am I aiming for versus what am I scoring for? Like those tracks get interesting.
There's two minor things I don't like about the mechanisms of the game. One is the cubes. I think the cubes are fine. It's a hard strategy to go for because you'd have to like really run all over the map to get them. But it's also very random. Sometimes you really need a cube. I want to get the last color of the set or that or what have you, or another white one. And there's a way to get the one in the corner of the board, but once that's gone,
It's gone.
it's just random at that point, and you can just not ever have one come out. It just could happen.
yeah.
The other is the player powers. This is a real weird issue for me because the player powers, some are so basic and so easy. Hey, I can upgrade my key. That's amazing. And it's good. It makes sense. I get an extra action on my turn, an extra excavation action or whatever. That's easy. I get extra movement. And then some are like, here's a whole extra set of components you can use. And you're like, whoa.
Here's the
I'm a
raft.
pig.
Yeah, you got a bunch of pigs or a raft.
People can steal those.
And I really think, they should have put on, here's the ones to use for your first game. They really should have done that.
Yes.
Because they're wildly different in complexity.
And not only that, but if you have the raft or the pigs in the game, you then have to explain your player power to everyone else because it affects them, and so it affects the how approachable that first game is. Or if you're if you're playing with someone who's like, explain the raft again, and the table goes, no.
I think those are better when they are the lost people.
The ones you can unlock.
I agree. I almost want to mark them and say, these are the ones players can pick. These are the ones that go up there. Because they're just... And also, it's not fun when you get one of those and you're like, oh, that's kind of a weird one. I'm not saying they're unbalanced. I don't know. But if it's weird, I'm like, I wasn't wanting to do that weird strategy. Wow, if it's upgrading keys, I'm always going to do that.
Sure.
No matter what I'm
Okay,
playing.
would you pick a new level 1 key or upgrade a key when you have the choice?
Oh, always upgrade.
Always
I always want the
upgrade.
strongest, most powerful thing I can have. If I was in a video game, I'll have like this super ultra sword with the
You're like,
worst
I only
armor
have
ever
one.
on. I'm like, but look at this sword.
I think one of the strengths of this design-wise, and they've done this with Santa Maria and its follow-up, like this group of designers, and they have a lot of fun doing it where your starting powers and your starting bonus and stuff might also be unlockable things in the game. And
That's cool.
It creates an amazing amount of game variability. But also, yeah, if you get like that life raft and the pig extra mechanism stuff thrown in, you're like, I'm just gonna if I'm playing with any new players, I'm just gonna I'm gonna wipe that and just reshuffle it. And I wouldn't have minded that being in, a second game onward, kind of marking on the card.
So a lot of people are going to ask about comparisons to Revive. As when you first play, I'm like, oh, this is really different than Revive. But then as I'm playing, I'm like, oh, that's like Revive.
The Explore
There's those
card, the
loot
track,
boxes, which I didn't go into overview, but you get these loot boxes, and it's a free action. They're not called loot boxes, but I've never met anyone who doesn't call them that.
Yep.
If you play video games ever, they're loot boxes. But that's the same as Revive, essentially. And the exploration and the building buildings is a little similar. It feels like a sideways step. It feels like the next in the South Tigris trilogy.
100% agree with that.
It's definitely the same world, right?
I don't mean that. I'm not saying it's a Garfield game, but it feels like if you play one of Garfield games and play another, you're like, oh, I understand this because there's pieces in this one. It's the same thing here. If you play Revive, I can teach you Recall faster. But it's still a different game.
Yeah, but man, does it feel the look of it, the tiles that you explore, you flip over, the fact that you have meeples that have to go explore around, like so much of it feels like the DNA is the same, but a different child came out, which is good. But it's a slight detraction for me, not a big one at all, but yeah, it's almost odd that it's not just like a game set in the Revive universe officially, because that's what it feels like.
I think for me, and I don't know, maybe it is because I played Revive, but I feel like this was a little bit simpler. Still a heavy game, still lots going on. But I felt like at least looking at my player board, I didn't just see like whirly spirals everywhere and being like, I don't know how I get on this track to this other track to what.
That's actually my biggest thing I miss. I know that the 3 straight tracks are very similar, but I love that mixed track. I like Revive better, as a heads up, but not much better. I like them both. I could see having both in your collection, but I could also see someone saying, I would just prefer to have one of this type. Because people aren't going to own, most people don't own 300-400 games. If you're only going to own 30, I don't know that I would own Recall and Revive both, unless that's your favorite game and you want another variation. And you don't want deck building, and you're like, this one. I think this one, you're right, is a little easier to teach. Mm-hmm. And I don't know which one I like better. I'm leaning on Revive right now, but I think they're both good games.
I think this is a little bit cleaner because you don't have to worry about cards and tucking, sliding, and this card allows you to tuck another card and slide underneath that one.
It fits a little better on the table.
A little better,
better.
Revive has huge player boards. Yeah, so this is, I don't know, if you're like, which one should I play first? Maybe this one. This one feels like a little teensy bit more cleaned up, and I like it for that. I think it's really good. My one other complaint that hasn't been said yet is if a player gets a lot of those free bonus action crystals, you are going to watch them play more of the game than you play.
Yes.
See, but I really like that part of the game is
she's
all
the one
those free
getting 'em.
actions.
This was not a thinly veiled Wendy. No, I've played, and anytime that someone has gotten a lot of those, they get to do bonus actions every single turn,
It's
which
like
is
the
good.
lightning bolts
You
in
earned
the
that,
Revive.
But
Sure, and that's an
Yeah.
exact correlation.
Yeah,
That's
they
another one
should
of
have made
those,
them
right?
lightning bolts so you could just teach it and be like, see, look, lightning bolts.
But I do feel like they're a little bit more limited on purpose in Revive, and I feel like this one you can kind of go crazy, go nuts with it, and people will, and it does slow the game down a little bit. The game moves at a great clip, except for those little moments.
Once
and that's
again,
a small detraction.
Chris
for me.
recalls and I take 15 actions. Maybe not that many.
Yeah, I wish the game had a slightly better thing, but I still enjoy it. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. I think it's a very solid game. The key mechanism is my favorite part of it. It is a point salad thing at the end. The exploration's not as critical as it sounds. You're exploring, but you're mostly just saying, does this have the spot I need to build the next building? No? Okay. Continuing. But it's enjoyable. It's a really cool game.
This I might have sounded like I've got a lot of complaints on it. And I think it's a lot of small things, but overall, I think this is a ton of fun. I give this one an 8 out of 10 as well. And I think that there's just so many smart little decisions in there, like the variability and the setup and all that stuff. I love that as you explore, you're encouraged to explore into areas that benefit other players because it gives you more of those in-game points. I think a lot of those things kind of feed back upon themselves very satisfyingly. And so this is one that, I'm excited to play it more. So an 8 out of 10 from me.
Okay, this one is also an 8 out of 10 for me.
I'm
It was
surprised.
so close to that excellence there. I really was. But yeah, there's just a few of those little strategies and stuff that, like the cubes and, how they come out. Honestly, I got hosed by the way that the pieces flipped over a couple times. So there's a few things in there that are fine, but I'd rather play Revive. I think that the engine building there is more fun. But I think that this has a ton of good stuff, and I think that if you love Revive and you want more but something different because you've played it a ton, you can come to this one and be very happy. Like Tom mentioned, do you need both? You don't need both, but you also don't need many, many, many games.
Right.
But I think that it is a good second game. The engine building is fabulous. And if you like to be able to look ahead in a game and kind of read the setup, this is one of those games that you can kind of read the setup, but then there is a lot of flipping over and discovering still.
Well, there you go, folks. That's Recall. Check it out. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Wendy Yee.
And we want to say thank you to some of our Game Found baggers. Thank you to Sam and April Schuster, to David Engstrand, to the Dread Pirate Roberts, and to Juice,
always.
like the movie, not the glove guy. Thank you all for
Melon.
backing our Game Found, and thank you all for watching. See you next time.
everybody. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games. We do top 10s. We play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.